I am still trying to wrap my head around Chris Paul. So Chris Paul goes to Washington in the Bradley Beal trade. Now the Wizards turn him around to Golden State for Jordan Poole. Couple things I don't understand.
And picks, by the way. One was a 2030 first-round pick, if you care.
Yeah, and pick swaps. 4 pick swaps are involved in this whole mess with this. I can't even understand. I don't understand NBA trades anymore. But how does Chris Paul help a Golden State team that is too short and getting very old? He probably doesn't. Maybe he helps the second unit, which has been really bad when Steph Curry is off the court. But I understand one aspect of it very well. They had to get rid of Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole lost his confidence right in front of our eyes in the playoffs. He was never going to contribute to that Golden State Warriors team. It was done. It was probably because of the punch. And I know he had some moments last year, but you could see in the playoffs just his confidence waned the entire time. And by the end, against the Lakers, he was basically useless for them. They couldn't put him out there. So I am fine with that part of the trade.
Before we really get into this, let me just ask you one question about Jordan Poole. And I'm going to have a follow-up here. Jordan Poole, when they won the championship, was being referred to as a third Splash Brother.
Okay.
So that is to a level of greatness that we would probably agree was not fair to him, correct?
That's way too high an expectation.
The way that Jordan Poole played, though, this postseason, he was horrendous. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But he's not as bad as the way that he played this postseason, you would think, moving forward.
Well, how can you want a player who's not mentally tough enough to handle even the hardest situation in the NBA? Yes, he'll probably be really good at a Washington team that's going to win 20 games. He'll score 25 points a game. What value is there? There's no value in a lot of points on a team that loses every game, Zach.
But is he not mentally tough enough, or were the Warriors cowards and refused to actually provide a serious punitive action to Draymond Green? And I don't like to compare really our lives and what we do to the actual sports world and the actual world of athletics. But if I walked up to you one day in the office, Perloff,
right,
and I just punched you in the face and management did nothing about it, are you giving your best effort? Are you feeling comfortable around the office?
No. But he had a good season. He scored 20 points a game, a career high. He shot 43% from the field. Not great, but not terrible. Why did he suffer so much in the playoffs? It was 6 months later. I felt like Jordan Poole found his footing after the punch. He had a lot of moments during the regular season, especially when the other guys weren't there. So, but to me, when you fold in the spotlight of the playoffs, you're never going to get over that. You're never going to be different. If you have a terrible, terrible playoffs, I find it really hard to believe you're going to step up and be a championship player.
Now, I'm not comparing Jordan Poole to Giannis Antetokounmpo, but it wasn't that long ago where people said Giannis Antetokounmpo was never going to win a championship if he stayed in Milwaukee, and he ended up doing so.
People like me who also said Jokic would never win a title in Denver.
And now he may be becoming a part of a dynasty. Here's what I'll say. Draymond Green had a very telling response when they lost, where he said that moment probably derailed the season. And I just wonder how much of it was behind the scenes that we don't know, where it was so up and down, mercurial, and then it all just came to a crashing end in the postseason, where there was a lot more tension behind the scenes than probably we realized.
I think that is all overstated. And Maggie agrees with you. She thinks that that's what's going on here.
Maggie's smart.
They signed Jordan Poole for 4 years, $128 million. This was a desperate move to get out of a terrible contract. I mean, that's a terrible contract.
Here's the thing. A terrible contract if you keep Draymond Green on the team. I'm of the belief, and I've said this numerous times, I'll double, triple, quadruple, whatever you want to call it down here. If I was the Golden State Warriors, if I was Mike Dunleavy Jr., I would have looked at Draymond Green, who did opt out of his contract, $27.5 million. He'll get rewarded with the big extension. And I look at him now at the age of 32, and I would say, thank you for what you've done. You are an incredible Golden State Warrior. We'll honor you one day. We'll hang your number in the rafters. But if I'm about winning a future championship, I'm operating under the belief that I think the easiest and best road to get back there is to continue to commit to Jordan Poole and have Draymond go somewhere else, because I do think you would have seen a different version of Jordan Poole next year if Draymond Green was away and gone and off that team. But that's not the way that they're elected to go, because it doesn't matter if Bob Myers there or is it Mike Dunleavy Jr., whoever it is, they're afraid to tell Draymond Green, thank you for what you did in the past, but the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore.
I understand what you're saying about Draymond, but the championship window is 2 years. Steph Curry's 35. After that, they're a lottery team.
I got 3 more years of a championship window.
3 more years. So who are you getting in besides Draymond? And if you keep Jordan Poole and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who's guarding anybody over 6'6" on this team?
Well, they just won a championship 2 years ago without playing a great brand of basketball.
But they had Draymond.
This is now a shooter's league.
No, it's not.
Yes, this is not a shooter's league. Outside of Nikola Jokic, you need a bunch of shooters to go win a championship, right?
I mean, you saw it. They just could not match up with the Lakers last year, and they would have gotten blown off the court by the Nuggets because the Nuggets have a 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot front court. I think that all of a sudden everyone realized after Jokic won the title, you can't just have a bunch of guards.
So the alternative is to give Draymond Green, a 4-year extension, $100 million, whatever it is, and then bring in Chris Paul, who either doesn't show up in the big moments, which you don't really need him to because you have Steph Curry, or is going to be hurt in the postseason.
It's only going to be 1 year of Chris Paul.
But here's the thing for me.
Yeah.
I think it's two different conversations. We could talk about Chris Paul and does that make the Warriors better? What's the impact of that move? And then also the fascinating decision that they had to make where they keep on going back to doing business with Draymond Green. And I would have, as I said, prioritized Jordan Poole over Draymond Green. Here's something, though, that I would love to know the truth to. And if there's one person in the sports world right now that I would love to inject truth serum into and have us sit right next to us in studio, it's Bob Myers. I want to know why Bob Myers left the team. And there's potentially many different reasons. But what I'm under the belief is that Bob Myers knew to elongate the championship window of Steph Curry, he had to break up this core that he was so tight with. And I don't think he had the heart to do so because in fairness to Bob Myers, you've won so many championships with these guys. You developed so many great relationships. I don't think that's easy to then break up a thing that's been so successful and you've gotten a lot of credit and grown really tight with these guys.
You might be absolutely right, but can we just talk about his last few moves? Because he is probably the coldest executive in the NBA before he left. Look at what he did. He drafted James Wiseman, number 2 overall, then 2 lottery picks, Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. What has that amounted to? And then he gave Jordan Poole 4 years, $128 million. This mess is his fault.
Not wrong, but when the move was made for James Wiseman, we liked it when he drafted him. When Kuminga was brought in, everyone was talking about how good this guy's going to be. Moses Moody as well. It is revisionist history now. They didn't pan out, and now a lot of those guys are elsewhere. So, it was a disaster. But at the time, a lot of people were praising the draft pick of James Wiseman. A lot of people. And I know it was very hairy with everything that did go on with him at Memphis and how much you want to see him play, and then the whole Penny Hardaway situation, the money, which was so ridiculous, and just how outdated the NCAA was and sometimes continues to be. But now it doesn't look good. And sure, that's what we do in this business. We judge by what these players end up becoming and turning out to be.
Well, there were some reports that they liked LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball hasn't stayed healthy, but that would have been interesting in that Golden State Warriors high-tempo thing, which, by the way, Chris Paul doesn't fit into at all.